Can you hear me now?
Oh, oh, perfectly.
Okay, great.
Finally. Ah, I know you're like, ooh, this girl is persistent.
Yeah. So
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Good to see you. Long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I know.
Yeah.
How's the family doing?
Family's good. Can't complain.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, welcome to
Thank
Sister
you.
Pods. Yes, thank you so much for taking out your time to join us. I know it's kind of late, so we're not going to keep you here forever. Uh, my co-anchor is not well tonight, so I'm going to be doing this on my own.
Feeling energy too.
Oh my. But yeah, okay, so let's go right into this. Tonight we're talking about the importance of exercise. And who better to have here than someone who I consider is a fitness guru? I mean, if you go onto this man's online social media sites or whatever, all he's doing is in the gym, just pumping that iron. Yeah, like you stay consistent. You stay in the gym doing that.
Yeah,
Um,
25 years strong.
25 years?
Yes, since I was 18.
Wow. Oh
Actually,
boy.
I tried to join the gym at 16. Back then, it was Bally's Total Fitness, and they declined and told me that I needed a cosigner or that I had to be 18. So I couldn't wait. As soon as I turned 18, I think the day after my birthday, I was there. It was at Bally's Total Fitness in Richfield back then.
Wow.
That was back in 99.
You know what's funny? I had a membership for Bally's Total Fitness too. The
Yeah,
one in on I think it was like on Lexington. It was somewhere in St. Paul.
Midway on University. I used to go there too.
This chick went there like twice. I went there twice and never went back, and there was a reason I went there. It wasn't to work out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. First and foremost,
Yeah.
let's just take a minute to invite the Holy Spirit in our, in our midst, because we know we would not be here if it were not for the grace of God.
True.
So, with that being said, let's go right into it. I want to formally introduce our guest for the night. We are here with Uhuru Nyangweso. Yes, like I said earlier, the last name is a tongue twister. Uhuru is, his family is originally from Kenya on his father's side, and on his mother's side, his family is from the US. Uhuru is a father, he is a husband, and he works in finance technology. Uhuru has a few hobbies. I'm only going to mention a couple. He loves to take vacations, he loves to work out, and he loves to what was the other one? Let me see. Oh,
Eat.
he loves to eat good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves to eat good. So I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think most people love eating good. But anyways, so before we go into it, I'm going to define the word exercise. And I got this definition from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary online. According to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, exercise is defined as a physical activity that is done to develop and to maintain physical fitness. Exercise is something that is practiced or performed to improve, develop, or to display a specific skill or capability. Exercise also helps to improve one's health, that is physical, mental, it helps to prevent diseases, and it also helps with weight loss management. So, with all that, I mean, how do you process all that? Because I know that's like a whole mouthful. How do you process all that? What do you think about exercise?
I think, yeah, that was well-rounded. Exercise is definitely physical, mental, even spiritual, when you connect the mind, body, and spirit. And I know we'll delve deep into that as we conversate, but I think the definition was pretty spot on.
All right, I love that. And as we always do here, we try to connect and correlate the Bible to certain things that we talk about. And I was looking in the Bible and I couldn't really specifically find something that was, Bible verses that were really touching on exercise in a deep way. But I did find a few that were talking about self-care and the body. So I'm going to read that real quick. 1 Corinthians 6, verse 19 to 20. The Apostle Paul, who wrote the book of Corinthians, says this. He says, "Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body." And so when I think about that particular verse, Bible verse, I'm not so sure if you heard it before, but when I think about that particular verse, I think Paul was talking about several things because I had to read, the verses before and the verses after to kind of bring everything together. But Paul was talking about several things, like, just kind of, being disciplined in terms of, sexual immorality and things like that. But he was also talking about, how to, take care of your body in totality. So when he talks about honoring your body, that your body belongs to God, I think about, respecting your body and taking care of your temple. That's what comes to mind for me. And so I think it's good for us to be intentional about, taking care of our bodies, getting adequate sleep, eating healthy, and exercising consistently are all, those are all a few things that we can do to incorporate those things into our daily living so that we can maintain our fitness. So with that being said, let's roll into the first question of the night. What happens in the body and mind when a person exercises?
I think exercise, as far as the mind goes, it's I call it iron therapy. Any stressors of the world that we're faced with on a daily, as human beings, whether it be job related, maybe dealing with some tough times in the family, it could be anything. But when you hit the gym, you kind of work out where they say you activate the pheromones. You kind of put the mind in a positive state. I think the body, the way it reacts to exercise, it gives you some kind of positive outlook, I would say, I know since, I've been working out, like I said, for 25 consecutive years without a break, and I've found that it definitely gives me a peace of mind. Even, my younger days, when I was a broke college student, I recall, and, it was very tough going to school and being broke, trying to talk to the ladies and getting turned down. Because the pockets are empty, so the gym is always the best friend.
That's hilarious.
I would say I could add on they missed out on something good, but I've been with my wife for 20 years now, so I'm happily married since.
Yeah, and shout out to Dee too. Shout out to the beautiful Mrs. Nyangweso. So let's roll into the next question. When I was thinking about this particular interview, I was thinking about beginner, exercises because I'm a person who I will start something and then it's like, oh, drag my feet. And then, the sun goes down, I have my calendar all marked up. Like I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I make these promises to myself and I can never seem to fulfill them, especially when it comes to exercise. So how does one come up with a consistent and kind of like easy routine just to kind of get started?
Okay. I would say first, it starts with the state of mind. You got to find purpose as to what is your motivation. Why do you want to work out? And I would say for us as we're aging, I would say for my generation at least, I'm an 80s baby. So the older, even though I've been on my health kick earlier, but I would say maybe the nutrition part, I wasn't as strict when I was young versus now. I'm a lot more stricter in those areas. But I'll say for a beginner, the first thing is to decide, why is it I need to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Once you have that clear vision on the why, now every day that would be a driver. So it will override any emotion that you would feel, any negative emotion you may have, especially when you're starting out. You don't feel like maybe you're working out early in the morning, or you're working out after work, you're tired after work, or you're tired in the morning. But the why should be the key driver pushing you to stick with your program. And I say for beginners, I could get very specific. All you need is 3 days a week. Maybe you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or every other day, just 3 days a week. And you don't really need that much time to have a strong workout. You could, even 30 minutes would be more than enough if you have a higher intensity, you know. But of course, in starting out, I would say, 3 times a week. If you could dedicate 60 minutes or 45 to 60 minutes, that would be more than enough. And you will notice a change. I would say that the change usually takes about 8 weeks. If you do it consistently,
Okay.
8 weeks later, you will notice a major change.
Okay, so
Especially lifestyle working out.
you said if you do exercise consistently 3 times a week for 30 minutes,
Yes.
8 weeks later, you're going to see a change.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that cardio? I mean,
Yeah.
break it down a little bit for us beginners. Like, with that exercise, is that like walking, or is it cardio? Is it
So
dance?
I would say this. I tell this to my sister-in-law all the time. Walking, yes, but we leave that for senior citizens. Even some senior citizens don't walk; they run. So I think my philosophy when it comes to training is I do nothing but free weights, I would say. But of course, for the ladies, I don't, machines. There's some good machines for the ladies, but I encourage everybody to stick with free weights. That would be the barbell and dumbbell weights. And then as far as we also need cardio, at least 2 to 3 times a week. And this is pretty intense cardio, but nothing less than about 40 minutes. And cardio is always done at the tail end of your workout. So you hit your weights first, and you can end it with cardio. And the reason being is you'll be burning nothing but fat at the end of that workout, because whatever glucose that you had in your system, you'll burn that off while you're lifting your weights.
That's very, 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 very interesting. Okay, so when I think about being a beginner, a beginner in the exercise game, I
Yeah.
myself too, I'm up there too. I'm up there on that,
I can't tell.
I won't be specific though, but
Okay.
I also have neglected. I've been living a sedentary lifestyle. Like, it's
Yeah.
sad to say, but it's true. Like, I've definitely neglected, my eating the right foods, my diet, my nutrition, and then on top of that, exercising too. I've been very just kind of lazy and very sluggish. Start a little something, like I said, mark my calendar, do it for 2 days, and then the third day I'm kind of like out.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what can motivate someone like me to start working out? And I'm not talking about the long-term incentive,
Right.
because obviously after that 8 weeks, that sounds good.
Yeah.
But I mean, for someone from the beginning, what can motivate me to get started?
I would say what I usually tell people to do is strip naked, stand in the mirror, and look at yourself and critique yourself and ask yourself, am I happy with what I see? I know it's the wrong direction, but the raw truth sometimes is the best medicine.
That was a whole pause. I was like, wait a second.
It's just you and yourself in the mirror. Just you in the mirror, and you just take a look, and picture what you would rather, if you have a goal, or maybe I'd rather look like this or like that, or there's a certain area maybe I want to improve how my arms look. It could be maybe I want to grow my glutes a little bit, maybe I want to have a figure 8, because you know, the tricks like doing widening your shoulders a little bit kind of gives you that bottle look. So it could be anything, and that's from a lady's perspective. I think from a man's perspective, you know, you could look at yourself and see, I have a bare chest maybe.
Okay.
Let me hit some bench press. Maybe I have chicken legs. I need to do some squats. You know, it's different motivations. And I'll tell you, my motivation is I have the fear of being out of shape. So that's what drives me every day, the fear of falling out of shape. Because every day it's not, people always assume, because I've been doing it for 25 years, it's just easy and it's just a walk in the park. No, every day for me is a battle. Every morning, like today I was up at 5 a.m., I still had to talk myself out of the bed, you know, and this is an everyday thing. So every day is a new day. Every day is a new battle. We all face a battle within. So the key is winning that battle between the spirit that's trying to keep you down versus where you're trying to go.
That's
you know?
true. That's true. Yeah. So actually making it a lifestyle, like you said earlier when we were on the phone, and I asked you, you know, like you know, I didn't say verbatim what motivates you, but I remember you saying it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. So making it a lifestyle.
Yes.
Wow. Well, okay, so you talked about, you know, how to get started, how often we should exercise, and when's the best time? When's the best time of day, would you say?
Now, I would say, depending on your situation, you know, if you have children or go to school. So myself, when we were young and single, me and my wife, I used to work out in the evening after work, and we actually used to go together. And when I had a son is when I realized I didn't have the time after work. So I started waking up at 5 a.m. and I found that was the best time to do it. And me and my wife, we had days where we traded off. This is before I had my home gym. I have a home gym now, so I'm just sitting here at any time. But I'm always waking up early in the morning because I feel like when you start your day off with doing something difficult, as far as like physical, pushing yourself, I think your day, anything you face during that day, becomes a breeze. You know, you're just walking around with your chest out. You just feel good about yourself. You know, There's something about your spirit. It awakens you up.
Yeah. In First Corinthians 9, verses 26 to 27, Paul, again, who wrote the book of Corinthians, says, I therefore do not run like someone who's running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. And I think when I read that Bible verse, what struck me was where he said, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave. To me, I instantly thought about discipline, you know.
Yes.
And when I looked into like the notes on that particular Bible verse, it was referring to discipline, because you don't want to preach what you can't practice, right?
Yeah.
So you could look at these Bible verses, you could flip them, and that's what I love about the Bible. Like, I don't want to get off the exercise topic, but I would say it's just a book of discipline. It really literally is. Like, even if one is not spiritual or not a believer, when you start going into it, or when you read certain parts of it, you see how discipline really is important to God, because that's the main thing. If we can't be disciplined, then how can we get stuff, accomplished?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's human nature to not be disciplined. So I I love the way the way Paul talks about being disciplined in your body and making it a slave, like I said, in my mind. And also after I did a little bit of research on that Bible verse, it talks about, having discipline and just, preaching, living what you preach, regardless of what that is. And hopefully, hopefully it's from the good book, you know what I'm saying? But, okay. So discipline and consistency, right? Just like you said, you've been working out for 25 years nonstop. My goodness. 25,
Discipline is everything.
that's
Discipline is everything.
that's a long time.
Yes. I
Wow.
remember
Let's
when
oh go
I
ahead.
was in my 20s. When I was in my 20s, one of these, one of the older guys, he was in his late 30s, and he was like, "Oh, you're just working out now. The six pack of yours will disappear when you're in your late 30s." And I remember in my mind laughing, like that would never happen. Even back then, I knew I had the vision to know that I planned on, if I'm going to be blessed to be alive, that I'll always be in shape as long as I can breathe.
Oh,
As long as I had something to do with it.
oh wow. Yeah, honestly, I really applaud your discipline. Cause I mean there's no way you can get up and go to the gym. Like TK, she walks almost I would say I don't want to say every single day because look, sometimes I don't see her walking sometimes, but she walks most of the days of the week. And even when I see her leaving, I'm like, I wish I could, but I just I don't have the discipline that she has. So I admire when I see someone who can, I feel like it almost has to be a routine. You have to tell yourself you're gonna do it. You can't sleep if you don't do it. Whether it's
Yeah,
walking for 30 minutes, whether it's dancing for 30 minutes, whether it's stretching, anything to get the
yeah,
body kind of moving, right?
right. The key is don't give yourself an option. I always say program mode. It means that I'm already programmed.
Mhm.
And if I tell myself I'm doing this, no matter what, I'm doing it. As long as, of course, it's something good, you know. But once I set my mind to it, I believe if I don't do it, then I'll suffer pain, disappointment. So I don't want to disappoint myself, you know. A person that I always look to for energy, I say workout energy. His name is C.T. Fletcher, and he says, suffer the pain of discipline or suffer the pain of regret.
Mm,
So
that's
it's
a
your
good
choice.
one.
And if you suffer the pain of discipline, that equals to what? Down the road, success and achieving your goals, right? And if
Yeah.
you don't, like for example, I know this trending topic, P. Diddy, very undisciplined. It's very clear that he's not a disciplined individual. So you become a billionaire and you find yourself sitting in prison because you lack discipline.
Look, I'm not commenting on P. Diddy. I don't want no one coming for our little
No,
podcast.
but I'm just saying it's an example of just discipline, how important it is. Even
No,
if
no,
you're a billionaire
you
and you
know
lack
what?
discipline, you find yourself in prison.
You know what?
Yeah.
And prison can be,
In the
it can
mind.
be literal, but it can also be, yeah, you're right.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's a very good analogy. Now that you put it like that, that's a very good analogy. That's very true. Prison can be in the prison of the mind.
Yeah.
But look, I'm not about to talk about Diddy on this here podcast. I talked about the Holy Spirit. Did you not hear me? Okay, let's talk about mental health because
Okay.
obviously everything is. I mean, it's all in one, right? In the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit.
All right.
You know, so mental health has everything to do with our day to day. I want to read Proverbs 17, verse 22. It says, "A joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." So we know that exercise can improve one's mental health by reducing depression and anxiety, and it also enhances brain health and it improves cognition function. So obviously, I can't say obviously, but keeping our emotions in check is a vital part of our health,
Yeah.
right? It's like that wellness helps us to stay balanced and also creates the happy place in our mind that I think you must have mentioned earlier. Just that happy space, like after you exercise and you release those endorphins and you go to that state of mind in your head where you have that high, and then, you know, and then everything is just feels good, right? You feel better after you exercise. You feel lighter and stronger and all that stuff. So when I think about that, it leads me to ask you this question. How does lack of physical activity affect our mental health?
Um, I would say it definitely has a negative effect. And I would say if you couple lack of exercise with a poor diet, poor nutrition, it also compounds it because just as much as exercise is important, in America we tend to eat a lot of processed foods, a lot of junk, which also, like I said, mind, body, and spirit, what you ingest could also determine depression and all this kind of stuff. So coupled with a lack of exercise, I think that could be very detrimental. And the importance of exercise couldn't be stressed enough. From my own personal experience, as I said, it's iron. We call it iron therapy. And I would also say I would encourage people to exercise and as well incorporate use of the sauna.
Okay, the sauna.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So what's with the sauna? Because even my mom was talking about that recently, about how, I mean, what effect does that
So
have? You know, like
So you
sitting
know
in the
how
sauna.
your body accumulates toxins from the environment, from foods that we eat. You see the food is red 40 dyes, and all these food colorings, additives, preservatives. So heavy metals in the water, you name it. Everywhere you turn, there's pollutants. So the sauna kind of helps you flush out your system with intense sweating, that heat raising your body temperature up. Uh,
Okay.
and also, while you're in the sauna, you tend to drink a lot of water, which is, of course, good for you. But I think that getting that intense sweat, at least even 3 times a week, it's very critical. It's good for your health. I think they said it regulates blood pressure. It has all kind of great benefits for the heart as well. But I'll say that the most important one is flushing out toxins.
Hmm.
'Cause I've been going to the sauna also for 25 years as well.
Wow. Look at
Yeah.
you. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Well, just a couple more questions here, and we're gonna call it a night. But in Genesis, back to the good book, in Genesis 9, verse 3, it talks about God's provision for our diet, and I mean our diet as a human species, right? This Daniel diet, as we would call it, the Bible speaks quite a bit about the Daniel diet, right? Um, there in Genesis, God talked about giving us vegetables, you
Mhm.
know, vegetables to eat. So that's why you find that a lot of believers, a lot of Christians are vegetarian. I mean, there even people who are not Christians. There are many people from different denominations who prefer to eat vegetables, So when I think about the Daniel diet, I go to Ecclesiastes 10, verses 17. It says, the value of a balanced diet. Blessed are you, O land whose king is of noble birth, and whose prince eat at a proper time for strength and not for drunkenness. Again, it says, blessed are you, O land whose king is of noble birth, and whose princes eat at a proper time for strength and not for drunkenness. And when I went into that verse a little bit deeper, it talks about the importance of eating a balanced diet, and also not just eating for pleasure, but eating to nourish the body and eating at a specific time, which makes me think about intermittent fasting, because that's something that I have tried, and that's something that's helped me to shed a lot of weight even without stepping foot into the gym. So what do you think about intermittent fasting?
Um, okay, I'll say this. I I fast from time to time, as far as like 16-hour fast. My metabolism is very high, so I'm not built to be a faster. I'll say that.
Mhm.
But I'll say this though. Um, what I do is only eat 2 to 3 meals a day, which would be breakfast. Many times I'll eat maybe fruits, a couple of eggs, a lunch, and a dinner. So I don't eat any snacks or nothing in between. I don't really drink juice, sugar, no alcohol, of course.
Oh, you don't
So
drink alcohol?
no,
Oh,
no.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I just try to keep it clean. I just follow simple rules. No white bread or no processed foods. No, I think mainly no processed foods. Try to eat whole grains. If I do eat bread, just try to keep it clean as possible. No margarine use. Got to use butter. Use avocado oil. No seed oils like canola. None of that. So we just try to do our best to do things that are easy
Mhm.
to abide by. The things that are sustainable that could stand the test of time, as you say.
Wow. 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 I had no idea how disciplined you are. Honestly, that if there's one thing I'm taking away from this conversation is I'm very impressed with your ability to, be consistent and also to, take your health and exercise habits very seriously. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow. Let's let's close this out by talking about a drink that I hate with the passion.
Uh-huh.
And that drink is water. I've had this love. In fact, it's not even a love-hate. I've just had a hate-hate relationship with water. Um, I know. Oh, hi, India. I was actually born in India, so namaste. Sorry about that.
Nice.
Yeah. Hi,
Okay.
Rocky_live. Thank you so much for joining us real quick. But water, I wanted to talk about my hate for, my dislike, my disdain for water. Um, I know that our bodies are made up of, 60% of water, and obviously I know that we cannot retain it. So that's why we're advised to drink it every day, your 6 to 8 glasses or whatever the case may be. But I have tried to like water, and I think this last couple of maybe these last couple of years is the first time in my life I've actually I have my water.
Okay, good job.
Yeah.
Is that spring water?
This is no, it's not spring, it's purified.
Right, so we want to keep it spring, and you want to drink it preferably out of glass.
Okay, out of the glass. Why? What's
Yeah,
the difference?
because the microplastics,
I see.
which has become a serious thing as of late. Or you'll want to make sure your bottle's BPA free, but who knows what other chemicals they got in there. So, but if anything, just make sure it's spring, because purified water is just tap water that they've gone through the condensation process and purified it. So it's just recycled tap water.
Okay, I wonder if that's like a contributing factor to like some of these cancers and whatnot.
Yeah, you never know. There's all
Yeah.
kind of stuff going on. So, I mean, we just do our best to protect ourselves. We leave the rest to God. But
Yeah.
Well, my motto is this: what's in my control, what I can control, I will control. Everything else that's out of my control, I leave to the Creator.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Listen, stop preaching over there. Listen, stop preaching. Watch yourself now. If you come on here, you're gonna come on here preaching. You're gonna go home and be like, "What was that Bible verse again?"
You better put me onto the Bible, man. I'm just a spiritual guy. I don't really prescribe to religion myself, but I was raised a Christian by my grandma, so I got to, of course, acknowledge my grandma. She raised me, made us go to church every Sunday. So I used to go to the Bible classes. So I'm very well versed with the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my teen years, I had a close friend who was a Muslim, so he introduced me to the Quran, and I also read a lot of the Quran. So I'm kind of well versed in Christianity and Muslim, and also Islam, I should say. And also I'm very studied a lot about African spirituality and,
Mm-hmm.
knowing our roots as well, that we tend to put to the side.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it's
with
important.
African spirituality, um I'm not opposed to learning different things, but I'm also I'm opposed to agendas though. I'm opposed to agendas. So some things are uh some things are an agenda and some things are a trend, and
Right.
you do see the crowd following. Okay, now all of a sudden Africa is so popular. I mean, Africa's been there this whole time. All of a sudden, the dressing, the clothing. Now it's like, okay, now let's run to
But,
African
it's the
spirituality.
season. It's the season, TT.
Yeah,
You see, the world is changing. The change of the guard.
yeah,
Yeah, they say it's the season of exposure. The lies will be exposed.
yeah.
So
One thing
Africans,
that don't
Africans are
change.
good. We're
One
due
thing
for
that
another
don't
show today.
change, though. One thing that don't change. The holy book. That's where I'll be. No, but
We could debate about that another day.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not opposed to people having different beliefs and everything. I actually totally and completely respect that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would just say this. As long as you know what your original people believed in, like where did we come from, what is our origin story, that's all. That's all. As long as you acknowledge your roots, okay, my people, we believe this, that, And that's all. Like me, I'm very delved into the Luo culture, because I'm very, very interested in knowing about my forefathers and their roots from Kemet, South Sudan. There's a lot of pyramids over there. I want to know, do we have something to do with that? Because we migrated from Nile all the way down to Lake Victoria. So I'm definitely into roots and culture for sure,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
religion is always good. Religion, people need it for discipline. So many people, religion gives them hope and gives them a base, an anchor. So I have nothing against religion,
And by the way, there's a difference between religion and relationship. So I think I'm at a place in my life where I'm more so promoting a relationship with Jesus over a religion, because obviously I do follow a certain denomination, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
I believe that is for structure. For me, it's been good for structure.
Yeah.
But I'm just at a point in my life where I know I need the relationship. I need to know why I love the Lord. I need to know why is it important for me to stay in the Lord. I need to know why it's important for me to believe the Bible.
Right.
So I think when you go into the Bible for yourself, God convicts you. He convicts people. Like me and you can talk about the Bible. We can talk about African spirituality. We can talk about Islam all day long. But conviction is very, very, very personal. So I can never tell someone to say, hey, you know what, believe.
Yeah. Everybody got their own story, their own connection.
Yeah. So once you go into something, like you said, you did your studying with your African spirituality, and you felt a connection there, and that happened.
I'll say this. What I do is everything good I like in Christianity and Islam, Buddhism, whatever, any great lesson that I hear or lesson that they have, I take it. I'm a knowledge junkie. I love knowledge, So wherever the knowledge is at, and it makes sense to my psyche and my spirit agrees with it, I usually take that and apply it, So I don't make it complex. I just everything that's good, positive energy. That's what I'm all about,
Yeah,
And,
I remember something that happened, like, because I was going to church consistently. Yeah. Like, I've gone to church for 25 years. Yeah. I've done that consistently. Okay.
Okay.
Like.
Hey, my pastor said, if you go to heaven and you open your eyes and you don't see me, you're in hell. So that means if I don't see you in heaven, I know I didn't make it.
No, look. I hope I'm gonna be there. I'm working on it. But I was gonna say, when COVID came, right? COVID-19 came, and you couldn't go to church, you couldn't worship together. That brought like a whole different context to worship for me, because I was like, what happens if you can't worship, if you can't go to church? What happens if you're in, something happens to you in an accident and you can't leave the house? So those are some things that you have to, COVID made me look at, worship differently. And by the way, I believe that you are the church. Wherever you go, you are the church. You're the representation of, what the church is. You're the representation of God. You're the representation of Jesus. So it's not that the church is a building, but in essence, it's you, wherever you go, wherever your spirit goes, you are the church. So I think after COVID, I learned that you have to learn to worship on your own. You have to learn to get the Bible, open it up, pray, read, whatever it is that you do. You can't depend on being in the presence of the flock, of the group all the time, because we never know where life will take us. So I think I became a little bit more serious after COVID. I was like, okay, yeah, I do need to know the Lord for myself, so that when I share about the Lord, I know what I'm talking about, and also living it as well, living the life, because if I tell you something and I'm not doing it like you, the way you love to exercise, if someone meets you face to face, they'll know that you're about your business. When they see your arms and your six pack and everything, they'll know, okay, yeah, this guy works out every day. I kind of feel like that's how Christianity is for me too. Like, I want to get to a place where someone sees my life and they can see the reflection of what I'm preaching, what I'm believing. So anyways, we went all the way off. But yeah, so what leave me with some encouragement about drinking water. Like, what's a good and I know water does so many things, yeah, with all the things that it does, helps with digestion, clears your skin, washes out the toxins. I know all those things, but leave me with a word of encouragement that can help me learn to like water.
Okay, first I'll say on the physical side, maybe use like a little slice of lemon in there.
I tried that one. I didn't like it.
No? With ice water with lemon? No?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I would just say this. Just have it in your mind that this is, I have no choice whether I like it or not. That's the discipline, right? It overrides emotion. It overrides your feelings. We say F your feelings, basically. Yeah. So you have to put your feelings out, and what is logic? I have to go by logic in many situations, right?
Sure.
So you have to override that emotion of, man, I can't stand water, to, man, this water is a necessity. It's everything, especially as we age. Very important. They say many people in the U.S. actually die from dehydration, and they never know.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Hydration is a real thing, especially if you're working out and you're sweating a lot. Make sure you put a little salt. I'll say a little sea salt in your water.
Okay.
Just to keep your electrolytes, instead of drinking like Gatorade or those sugary drinks filled with a lot of preservatives and food dyes. Just keep it simple with the water with some little salt in it. That does the trick. But I'll say for you, right now, just put it in your mind. It's a necessity. I don't have an option. Just like with the working out.
Yes.
You don't have an option. It's like eating food or breathing air.
Yeah.
It's just something that you do. It's just part of, like I said, your routine. It's just part of life. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. It all starts in your mind with exercise and all. Oh my goodness, I didn't want this to come to an end. It was actually fun, but I know that it's late on your end. It's late on my end. Yeah. Can you leave us with some parting words? Anything that you want to say before I close out? Just kind of rounding up our conversation.
Yeah. So I would say that the dedication that we have with this exercise is actually traits that or characteristics you could apply in all aspects of your life. And Just that consistency, being persistent, being disciplined. When you do that on your job, you do that in school, you do that with your family. These are all uh, things you could apply
Yeah.
to make life easy. I always say life, it all starts with a decision, right? And based on the decision, you have implications. But if you make the right decision, it's simple. You make wrong decisions, it gets complex.
Yeah.
So it's all about the implications after the decision. So I always try to make the decisions that can stand the test of time, and you can't go wrong.
Wow, wow. I have learned so much from you tonight in this however many minutes this was. I was excited about this, but I'm leaving with more knowledge than I came with, that's for sure. Thank you so much for your thank you. What'd you say?
I said, same here. You taught me a lot of, about the Bible verses and some great knowledge. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge, for your wisdom. And also, again, I just want to applaud you on your discipline. Like that's actually it's one of those qualities that I always pray to God to help me to, to be more disciplined in specific areas of my life. Because I know when you're disciplined, you can hone into stuff and say, you know what, I'm going to do this and do it. You find a lot of people who are successful, they have that quality and they're able to use that to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve.
Yeah.
So I can totally respect that about you. But Uhuru, thank you so much for joining us. Look, I'll be looking for you again. I'm on my hustle. Don't play now.
All right. Anytime.
Don't play with me. But yeah, my regards to your family, of course, and thank you so much for your precious time.
Thank you.
And we'll be seeing you another time when I reach out to you. Take care and have a blessed rest of your week.
Thank you.
Okay.